Didi Yorak. I'm so honored to have her on this show. Didi,
Thank
why don't
you.
you tell us a bit about yourself?
So I'm actually Turkish Canadian, born and raised in Thornhill, Ontario. To very Turkish parents, but I grew up in a Jewish community and it was a little too small for me, so I wanted to expand my horizons, which is one of the reasons I moved to Istanbul. During school, I started working when I was 16 at a jeans store, and then during school I was bartending, and then right after university I started working at Dell Computers.
Okay.
And I was there for about 2.5 years. And then I had a car accident, I got let go, and I moved in 2007 to Istanbul. One of my main reasons actually was how much opportunity, business opportunity there was here. And entrepreneurship is something that was always of interest to me. And so I started kind of meeting people. Actually, the person who I met, that I was looking at her as a mentor, was through Twitter. And then now my current clients from that connection.
Yeah.
And I've been working with advertising and content for about 6 years now. Before that, I was doing medical tourism, so a lot of different areas of business.
Let's focus a bit about your consultancy. You're providing content to a lot of different stakeholders. Now, we hear the word content, and a lot of people use that term, and some people are confused what exactly is content. So let's simplify the process. Tell the audience, what is content?
Anything that is basically showing on your screen is content.
So content is important today, and content drives everything. So,
especially in Turkey, because there's a lot of different brands, and everybody has to stay relevant. So there's a lot of turnover with the image use, for example, or the advertising that's done, and the films and the commercials that are being filmed. So,
but there's a lot of clutter too.
There is a lot of clutter.
How do you filter that? I mean, if I come to you, what sort of guarantees are there that the content you're giving me is not used elsewhere?
I can't give that guarantee. I mean, it's royalty-free content that we're working with. But generally, I do try to at least control to see what kind of images are being used, and at least let the agencies know if it's a really popular image, if it's something that will, cause any kind of duplication along the market. As much as I can, obviously. But the website that I'm running has over 240 million images, videos. So, and daily we're adding around 50,000 images and videos. So this is a huge number. So we're trying to stay very relevant in this industry. There aren't too many players. Actually, there's only one or two. And I mean, we see ourselves as a partner as opposed to just a supplier. And so I work very close hand on hand with the agencies.
How do you support brands? I would like to walk my audience to understand in terms of content, how do you support brands and what sort of brands do you work with?
My biggest brand would be an airline, actually. And since they're doing lots of different online videos, and they're actually showing a lot of our content within airports around the world. So let's say you're in Athens and you're at the desk, you'll see the ad for Beijing, because it's still the easiest way to fly from Athens to Istanbul to Beijing. So there'll be a video on Beijing. And so really it's also at this point what the agency is doing with their project as well. But the content is constantly being added. We have about 400,000 contributors all over the world. So it's very easy to access that content at relatively low prices as well.
Where do you see content in 6 years from now? What are the changes, the dynamics?
I mean, digital, obviously, like everybody's talking digital, but it is important, obviously, because we're literally now connected to our phones, and that is how we're getting content pushed at us generally. But I think that's going to be one step for the future, is more stock filming. So instead of going to a full commercial, doing more smaller clippets and then using, more of a stocky, but something that, can be reused and not too expensive to create. I think that's what we're going to be leaning towards.
Turkish brands, are they out of the box, or do you see repetition in the process?
The brands, yes, there are some that are out of the box. Definitely the airline is, I think, out of the box because they're constantly renewing themselves.
How much awareness is there in terms of what you do when we talk about the external stakeholders, an average client or a bigger client that doesn't understand whatever you do, he decides to send his production team to Egypt, France, so on. And it still happens. But how many are aware of what you do?
Oh, I would say a lot. I mean, about 90%, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I've been doing this for 6 years and literally knocking on doors, and still, I continue to knock on doors. I could go visit 5 clients a week easily. I mean, I'm also working with different industries, right? So I have textile companies on one end, I have media companies, I have, different documentaries that are happening with the content.
What's the process? Do you educate them on the values that you have and how it works?
So more the licensing.
Closing?
So I mean, copyright is something that is very, very important. And the Turkish brands alike and agencies have shown immense respect about it. Everybody's licensing properly. I mean, I brought that word into the industry a little bit. Did you license that? People weren't talking about licensing before. And yeah, I have to explain what it covers and the extent and why they're paying what they're paying. And generally it makes sense though. Yeah. And I mean, we also offer comps to the agencies, which allows our content to be shown freely to the client. And when the client says, where did they get that? Yeah. Then they come running to us to license it and use it as they wish.
So would you say, if I'm going to put you on the spot and say, when it comes to content, whether if it's videos, whether if it's image or anything, would you say you're one of the most influentials in this country?
Oh, definitely. Throughout the world, globally, actually.
You are?
Yeah, definitely.
So would you say on a personal level, when it comes to Turkey, you're a personal brand when it comes to this?
Yeah. I am known with my brand name. It's my name and my brand.
So if you would leave a message now to young women, fresh college graduates, and yet they have another year to graduate, and they're thinking with the current economic crisis across the world, unemployment, and some are discouraged, some are hopeful.
Naturally.
Yeah. What would you tell them?
I would say this is a cycle. The world is going through cycles all the time. Things are always in flux, and if we give up, then, there's no point. Just keep pushing regardless of what the outside is telling you. I mean, I think that's internal motivation, and there's so much out there. Really, yesterday I found out that there's a job on Twitter. They just clean up garbage, garbage posts are cleaned. I was like, there's a job like that? So, I mean, there's a lot of jobs that you can create. In Canada, my family doesn't understand really what I was doing, didn't understand, with the medical tourism at least. They were like, what is that? I just keep on keeping on. Let's say that would be my line.
You're very confident, which is obvious.
Sometimes, in some regards.
But what do you do when you're discouraged and you face battles?
I dust myself off and try again.
You never quit?
Generally not, unless it's not worth it. Unless it's not worth it. Yeah. I mean, because then I start doing you do the cost-benefit analysis, and you're like, okay, that's not really worth my time. And something that we need to practice, I think all of us, is not to worry about things that are out of our control.
Absolutely.
There's my business, there's your business, and there's God's business, right? So everybody should kind of stick to their own business.
Didi, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I invited Didi because I wanted to share her story. Very inspiring story. The way she started, the way she faced things, the way she moved forward, and the way she reached here today, where she is today, and servicing big companies on content.
Agencies,
advertising, and so on. Should be an inspiring story for you to start on your own. If you feel discouraged, always remember that people that struggled in their lives, they reach somewhere. No one automatically reaches somewhere. There's always a journey. There's always great values. And it's a learning process. Learning.
Keep learning. I would say learn. I mean, I didn't know anything about advertising when I came, and I would buy all the necessary magazines and follow my clients and agencies and corporates and see what kind of work they were doing and see what kind of awards they were getting and what are they doing? Why am I relevant? And then I made myself more relevant to them.
So keep on moving forward. Don't stop. Always believe in yourself.